This video is a presentation of the research I did on digital game-based learning. I chose digital game-based learning because I feel that digital games have the ability to be more engaging than traditional lecture teaching. My research question that I decided to focus on was, can digital game-based learning improve student skills? In addition to traditional research, I conducted interviews and observed a classroom using digital game-based learning. The methodology for my research is that I conduct some research, but since digital game-based learning is a newer concept, there is not much history to base guidelines off of. It is for this reason that much of my research was conducted through interviews and observations. You might be wondering, what is game-based learning? Digital game-based learning can be defined as a rule-based formal system with a variable and quantifiable outcome, where different outcomes are assigned different values. The player exerts effort in order to influence the outcome. The player feels attached to the outcome, and the consequences of the activity are optional and negotiable. I view game-based learning as students playing a game based on learning. My findings from my research: I found that digital game-based learning can cause students to be more engaged in their learning. I read an article by Ann Bonk where they said digital game-based learning has the potential to provide effective and powerful learning environments in which the learner can develop the essential skills for the information age, including critical thinking and problem-solving skills, as well as acquiring domain expertise. In addition to being engaging, digital games encourage learning through doing, which I feel can be the best way to retain material. When a digital game can be engaging for the students while still having them practice the necessary skills, it reaches the students on a level that cannot be obtained through the traditional lecture method of teaching. The first interview I conducted was with a 7th grade special education history teacher. This teacher has 2 sections of inclusion and 2 sections of self-contained students. The variety of student abilities in these classes show how different students respond to digital game-based learning. I chose this teacher because I wanted to learn the effects of digital game-based learning on students with special needs. Let's look some more into what happened when I interviewed this teacher. This teacher was asked how digital game-based learning is incorporated in his classroom. He stated that he uses Kahoot, which is a digital game, for quarterly review and at times as a reward. When I asked him to clarify on how he used it as a reward, he stated that the students enjoy playing Kahoot and will work hard to earn the ability to play. The teacher then stated that he has seen an increase in his quarterly scores since using Kahoot as a review tool in the past few years, and showed me the data to support this statement. When I asked how he accommodates his students with special needs, he responded that he will read longer questions aloud and the choices. He will also eliminate some choices and give longer response time. The other teacher that I chose to interview was a 5th grade math teacher. This teacher has 2 sections for math. One section is general education and the other section is inclusion. Since I am an elementary teacher, I felt interviewing another elementary teacher would give me more insight as to how to better utilize digital game-based learning in my classroom. When I spoke to the 5th grade teacher, I asked her what math-based digital games were being used in her classroom. She also told me that she liked using Kahoot as a review tool, and she gave 3 reasons. The first reason was the library of review games that can be used as is or modified to fit a desired skill. There's a database you can search through, depending on what skill you decide that you want to be practicing at that time. The second reason was the ability to create review games from start to finish to give the teacher the ability to have full control of the material. If there is not a game centered on the skill you want to practice, or if you have specific language or questions that you want to ask, you can create your own game and include the choices that you want them to be able to choose from. The last reason, and possibly the most convincing one, was the fact that Kahoot will give data reports so that the teacher can see how students are responding and use the data to plan mini lessons to rescue the skill. At the end of a game, it will say save results, and it will give you an Excel spreadsheet with each question, the percentage of students that answered correctly and incorrectly, and then an overview of what each student answered. The teacher also stated that she recently started using Prodigy and noticed that the students were incredibly engaged in the game. I do talk about Prodigy later when I look into the tools that can be used for digital game-based learning. I also conducted an observation in the 5th grade classroom. When I observed the class, they were practicing multiplying a decimal by a 1-digit number. The teacher was able to assign the skill in Prodigy and instructed students to battle one another. When the students battle in Prodigy, they are given math questions to answer, and if they get them right, they wound the other player and win the battle. After the students spent some time battling each other, the teacher then called the students back to their desks and instructed them to go on Kahoot. She had created her own review game where the students could further practice the